you for calling Wellness Partners. This is Riley, your scheduling assistant. How may I help you today?
Hey Riley, can I book a meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. please?
Just a sec. I see that our clinic hours tomorrow are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So unfortunately, we don't have availability at 6 p.m. Would you like to schedule an appointment earlier in the day?
Yeah, let's do 5 p.m.
Great. Your appointment is scheduled for tomorrow, June 20th at 5 p.m. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
That's perfect, Riley. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for choosing Wellness Partners. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m.
All right, thanks. Bye. What you just witnessed there is a Vapi voice agent, and it's pretty damn amazing, guys. And in this video, I'm actually going to take you through exactly how to build your own and how to actually make it so that it books appointment straight inside your Google Calendar. Now, if we actually head over to my Google Calendar, you can actually see that it booked the consultation at 5 p.m. So yeah, I'm also going to be showing you how to actually create the appointment booking site and how to make it so that the Vapi agent can actually check your availability and things like that. This is very, very useful if you're a business owner who's looking to integrate some sort of AI voice receptionist into your business, but you don't want to start hiring out a whole team to handle those calls. You can simply let this AI voice agent take over the whole thing and instead just pay each time you make a call. So if we head over to the metrics, the average cost per call for me is 14 cents. So it's going to look something like that. Yeah, and instead you just pay each time the voice agent makes a call instead of having to pay them on a salary or anything like that. Whether you're a chiropractor or a hair salon or a plumber, you can adjust these agents to fit different use cases, and you can change the personalities, the instructions, handling knowledge bases. You can upload your own knowledge bases so it knows exactly things like the services you provide, maybe your availability, 9 to 5. So yeah, you can basically adjust these agents to fit your business and make sure that your customers are satisfied. If you wanted somebody else to actually integrate these systems into your own business, just go ahead and book a quick meeting with me and we can discuss what automations or agents we can set up for you. Obviously that includes the Vapi voice agent that I just displayed. So yeah, how this video is going to go is first we're going to build the agent in Vapi, and then we're going to move on to make.com to build the actual tools that the agent can then use to do whatever it wants. So without further ado, let's get started. The absolute first thing that you need to do is head over to vapi.ai to create your Vapi account. You can do this by pressing sign up right here, and then you can just sign up with Google. But once you've signed up, it will take you to your dashboard, which will look something like this. I'm going to quickly go over what a couple of these things mean. So obviously if you go over to the left, you can see there's loads of sort of sections in the sidebar. The assistant section is where you're going to be able to create your own assistants. The overview is not that important. There's a couple pieces of information. The thing that's going to be more important than the overview is this metrics section right here, where we'll be able to track literally everything, like the total call minutes, number of calls, total spent, and the average cost per call. That's very, very important. I wouldn't really worry about any of these other sections apart from the phone numbers right here. So you can buy a phone number and then connect it to the assistant. Maybe the files where you're going to be able to upload the knowledge bases right here. You can see I've got knowledge base.txt, and what you can do is you can hook up these knowledge bases with assistants so they have expanded knowledge on your business or whatever you're trying to achieve. Yeah, that's about it. So without further ado, let's actually create an assistant inside of Vapi. So let's go ahead, just press create assistant up here, and it will say choose a template. You can actually choose from a couple templates. There's this lead qualification one, this appointment scheduler. We're going to be doing an appointment scheduler agent, so you can click this template right here and you can name the assistant whatever you want. It's really up to you, and just press create assistant. After you've done that, you're going to be able to configure a couple of things like the model, the prompts, but I'm going to take you step by step. So first things first, you're going to see the LLM that the AI is actually using, the large language model. I think it's default to OpenAI. So the model is pretty good for this one. You can switch it to GPT-4o mini if you want. I heard GPT-4o mini is pretty good, but it looks like this one just costs less and has a quicker response time. So just leave it as that. And then this is where you're going to be able to actually configure what the agent says and how the agent acts. So the first message is obviously the first message it says. It's pretty self-explanatory. So here you're going to do your business name, thank you for calling X. This is Riley, your scheduling assistant. Obviously, you can keep this as short as you want. And then the system prompt. Here you can spend a while on this system prompt. Really just go into the details. You can generate the system prompt with ChatGPT if you want. But yeah, you're going to be able to configure literally everything, like your availability, the responses, the knowledge base and whatnot. So yeah, really spend some time on this section. Make sure you've got everything in detail about your business, about how you want the assistant to actually speak. The more information, the more detail that you provide, the more human the assistant is going to sound like, the more personalized the assistant is going to be. And then this is where you can actually select your knowledge base. If you have any knowledge about your business, if you have some sort of files, you've got some sort of customer support SOPs, I don't know, whatever you have, just simply head over to the file section that we explored earlier. Then you can press choose file. You can upload any files you want. And then when you head back to assistants, you're going to be able to select that knowledge base, those files. So as you can see here, I can select the knowledge base and it's going to use information. It's going to pull information from that file. Each time it actually generates a response. It's going to allow the agent to be way more accurate. It's going to know a lot more about your business, maybe more than you know about your business. So yeah, honestly, I think that's a very good idea to have your own knowledge base there. Now let's head over to the voice configuration. Here you can actually pick what voice you want the agent to use. So 11 Labs, I've heard 11 Labs has pretty realistic voices. They actually recently released a new version, V3, which has insanely realistic voices, so you can go with that. But Vapi is honestly enough, and then you can go through these voices, see which one you like, see which one sounds best, and just pick whichever one you want. Now the other settings, I wouldn't really dive into these other ones, they're not as important. We are going to be using the tools though later. So congrats, you built your first voice assistant. This assistant can now take inbound calls, make outbound calls. To connect it to a phone number, head over to the phone number section, press create phone number, and then you can connect it to a Twilio phone number or whatever provider you use. It's very simple. You would just have to put the phone number and then some credentials, and that's literally it. You would connect it, and then where it says inbound settings, you would then select an assistant. If you wanted the assistant to make outbound calls, you would go down here to the outbound settings and then press assistant, select assistant, and you would choose your assistant right here with the phone number, obviously. That's literally it. You have your own voice agent. Obviously it can't do anything like book appointments. It can't check availability. It can't do literally anything. Apart from just, be able to communicate with the customer or the prospect. And that's exactly where Make.com comes in. If you don't know, Make.com is a no-code platform that allows you to build automations. It even introduced agents not long ago. But we're going to be using it to build these simple automations that's going to be able to enable the Vapi agent to retrieve things like information from our Google Calendar, our availability, and we're also going to use it to book appointments straight inside Google Calendar for us, right? And I know that sounds pretty wild, but yeah, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it step by step. So we are going to actually need to create some tools for the agent so they can then communicate to Make.com to activate certain workflows for certain scenarios. So if you head over to this tool section right here, you're going to be able to create any tools you want. So you can press create tool up here. It's going to be a function. And the first tool that we're going to create is the tool that gets availability from a Google Calendar. So you can name it Get Calendar Availability, like this. For the description, it can be very simple, like this tool gets calendar availability from the Wellness Partners booking calendar, or whatever, what your business name is right here. You can just replace that. And then down here, the parameters, we just need to add a property, name this date. And then the description needs to be the date provided in an ISO 8601 format. This is the format that is commonly used when doing dates, and it's going to allow it to be frictionless between the language models that we're using, because the Vapi agent could start doing the dates in different formats, and with AI we're trying to make it as consistent as possible. So just having one date format across all these different platforms is going to allow for less friction. So once you've done that, the type can be string, press apply. And then for the server URL, this is where we're actually going to connect it to make.com. So we're going to leave that blank for now. First, we're going to make all the tools and whatnot, and then we're going to move on to make.com. So you can create another tool, and we need a function again. And this tool is going to book the actual appointments inside of your Google Calendar. So you can name this book calendar event. For the description, it can be something like this. This tool books the calendar availability from your business name's booking calendar. It takes an input date constructed in ISO 8601 format, so puts it into the right format, and returns a string of availabilities the assistant can use to book a new appointment. Yeah, it's pretty damn simple. And then for the parameters, we actually have to provide whatever the date is. So you can put date right here. This is going to be the input date so that the agent can actually book the appointment. So the description is going to be something like, this is a date constructed in ISO 8601 format. Once you've done that, just press apply and then hit save. So we just set up all the functions for the agent. We can now head over to make.com and start creating the tools it's going to use. If you don't have a make.com account yet, just click the link in the description and create one. Once you've created your account, you can go ahead to the scenarios section right here in the sidebar and press create a new scenario. Once you've done that, you're going to see something like this. It's going to be a purple plus button, and we can just get started and set up a webhook. Do custom webhook right here. And now we need to actually add a hook so that the Vapi agent can call this workflow, this automation, each time it needs to use the tool. So you press add. You can name this something like Vapi get availability webhook. Save. And then you're going to see this address right here. Press copy address to clipboard down here. Head over to Vapi and then go to the get availability function that you created. And down here at server settings where it says server URL, just paste in the webhook URL right here and press save. And you can see that it's actually testing the webhook, it's listening to the webhook. So you can actually press test and send request. And you can see that if it says successfully determined, that means that you set up the webhook correctly. And we do actually need some variables from this webhook so that we can use it in other modules. So go ahead and press run once in the bottom left. Head over to Vapi. And because I ran this agent before, I can copy and paste the content of a webhook request. So I'm going to put this in the description. Just go in the description and copy and paste the code I'm going to provide, and then paste it into the request body. Press send request. Head back to make.com, and we're going to get the exact variables that we're going to be using. So you can get all the arguments and whatnot. We can add another module. Google Calendar, search up get free/busy information. Then where it says minimum time, do set hour with a capital H, and then double brackets like this. Then click here so that we can actually put in some variables from the webhook. Press tool calls, function, arguments, and where it says date, just go ahead and you can drag down there or click it, doesn't matter. Do semicolon after that variable and then do 0. Then go ahead, copy and paste that again. But for the maximum time, we need to check 1 day in advance, so we get all the availability for 1 day. So do add days, bracket at the start, bracket at the end. Go behind that bracket, do semicolon, and then do 1. So add 1 onto that date so we can check the availability for that day. So down here on the calendars, press add item, and where it says calendar ID, you can unmap that. So I need to remove this right here. but on the calendar ID, you can select the calendar you want to use. I'm going to select test calendar because this is for a test. And yeah, now the automation can get the availability for one day. But what we need to do is we need to convert this back into a JSON format, then provide it back to the agent so it gets all the results. So for this, you can add another module and search up the JSON module, and where it says transform to JSON, just select that. And then for the object, just head over to Google Calendar, calendars, your calendar, and then the busy variable right here, and then hit save. Don't be afraid to keep testing the automation to make sure everything is working. That is completely fine. You can press add another module since we've converted it to JSON, and search up ChatGPT, create a completion right here. You can do GPT 4.0 system, 4.0 mini system. It's not, we can use mini because it's not that of a complex task. Where it says messages, add message, role, developer / system. The text content can be you are a helpful, intelligent booking assistant. Press add message, role, user. This time you can copy what's on the screen right here, but long story short, what it's going to do is it's going to generate a response for the voice agent depending on the information that we got from the Google Calendar, and then add another message. Role is going to be user again, and this message is actually going to contain the JSON from this module right here, which is going to be the time, and we need to make sure the response is a JSON format for Vapi. So go down here, press show advanced settings, where it says response format, set that to JSON object, and where it says pass JSON response, select that to yes, press save. I mean, we can even test this out if we want to. Run once, send request. It's going to generate the response of ChatGPT. We can see the result. This is availability times. Okay, now that we've generated a response with ChatGPT, we can relay that information back to Vapi. So just add another module, press webhooks, press webhook response. And then for the body, it needs to be a JSON format. So just copy this exact layout. And then for the tool call ID, head over to the variables, go to the first webhook, where it says tool calls. Put that there. And then you'll see this ID variable. Select that, and then for the result parameter, we can select availability times from ChatGPT. Press save right there, and then ChatGPT will basically be able, and then ChatGPT will be able to communicate with Vapi to let it know, what times it is available, if it's outside the hours of operation. It's basically to allow sort of communication. You can rename the automation to check availability. I don't know how to spell availability, man. Flip it. You can just save the scenario. And then, yeah, we can move on to the second scenario, which is actually going to be booking the meeting. So let's go ahead and create a new scenario. This one's going to be way simpler. It's just going to be a webhook. Custom webhook right here. Then you need to add another webhook. You can name this Vapi book an appointment webhook. Press save, and then we're going to do the exact same procedure as we did for get availability. So you can head over to the book calendar event function, scroll down where you see server URL, paste that in there, press save, press test, send request, and it should be, yeah, there we go, say successfully determined. You can just make sure that you press save down here, press add another module, search up Google Calendar right here, and press create an event, and then just select your calendar and the calendar ID. Event name, you can name this whatever you want. I'm going to do appointment. There we go. And then the start date. We're going to need a variable for the start date. So we can go ahead and head back to Vapi, and we're going to paste this test request that I grabbed from a previous execution. I'm going to put this in the description as well, so you can go ahead and copy that. But anyway, now that we have it, press send request. Oh, I need to make sure it's actually activated. So just unlink those two modules. run the scenario once, press send request. There we go, it ran. And now we have the exact variables that we need. Connect that back up to Google Calendar where it says start date, and then head over to the webhooks variables, go to calls, function, arguments, and then date right here. We don't need an end date because it's going to be a set duration. This can be 30 minutes, this can be an hour, it's really up to you. So we can do 00, 30 or 30 minutes. And once you've done that, I don't think we have to touch anything else. You can go ahead and press save. And literally all we have to do now is just provide the information back to Vapi. So we can add another module, press webhooks, webhook response. And then for the body, it needs to be a JSON format again. So you can just copy this exact code on the screen. This is the exact format that we need to communicate with the Vapi. So for the tool call ID, just go ahead, go to the variables, scroll down, select, press this drop down right here on tool calls, then press this ID variable. And yeah, that is it. Go ahead and press save. Save that scenario. You can name this book meeting or appointment, really up to you. And go ahead, turn this one on, press save, turn the other one on. Now the last thing that we have to do is actually provide the tools to the assistant. Head back to the assistants, go to the assistant that you created, go to the tools section, and here you can actually select the tools you want the assistant to use. So the one that we wanted is the book calendar event and the get calendar availability. And one last thing that I recommend doing is providing the current date and time to the assistant so that it doesn't just pick a random time to schedule the meeting. To avoid that, we can simply just paste a variable inside the system prompt with your time zone. And what this is going to do is it's going to provide the current date and time to the assistant, so it has, more context on actual date and times and things like that. And yeah, congrats if you made it this far. You just created your own AI voice receptionist that can not only get availability in your Google Calendar, it can actually book appointments for you without you having to be involved in any step of the process. Now that is just wild. I hope this agent saves you a lot of time, saves you a lot of money, saves you a lot of stress having to hire out customer support teams. And to actually call this agent on your phone, you are going to need to connect a phone number. I showed you how to do it earlier, but a quick recap, just press create phone number, connect it to your provider. There's going to be detailed instructions. Then once you have your phone number, you can go ahead and select your newly created receptionist as the assistant right here in this drop down, and for the outbound you can do the same, right? And let's see if it can actually book us in and check availability and things like that.
For calling Wellness Partners. This is Riley, your scheduling assistant. How may I help you today?
Hey Riley, could I book a meeting tomorrow at 5 p.m. please?
Since this is your first visit for a routine checkup, I'll need to collect some basic information. Could I have your full name, date of birth, and a phone number where we can reach you?
Yeah, my phone number is...
Just a sec. For a routine checkup as a new patient, I see availability tomorrow between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. and also a short slot from 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. The full 5 p.m. time you requested isn't available. Would you like an appointment at 4:30 p.m. or would you prefer a time earlier in the day?
Sure, how about we do 4:30?
To confirm, that's an appointment on Friday, June 20th at 4:30 p.m. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's completely fine. You can go ahead and just book me in.
Hold on a sec. Your appointment is now booked for routine checkup with the first available provider on Friday, June 20th at 4:30 p.m. The appointment will last approximately 30 to 60 minutes.
And boom, you can see that the automations are literally just firing off. It's pretty cool to see the actual, how the agent works and everything. So yeah, if you thought this video was helpful, go ahead and just like and subscribe. If you had any issues setting this agent up, go ahead and just leave a comment and I'll respond as quickly as possible. So yeah, if you're a business and you feel like you're falling behind with AI and you need somebody to be able to educate you to be able to implement these systems, just go ahead and book a meeting and we'll just talk about some automations that you think are going to be useful for you. With that said, thanks for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.